So these are the bosses that are in the DLC for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. We fought all of them. You might remember some, you might not. If not, I think I should be able to remind you of all of them. We're gonna do them. Oh, we can actually give them our own criteria as most difficult, but this one I want to be super difficult. Okay, then we have average, easy, very easy, and easiest boss. Lol. So based on this, we're gonna start rating them. We're starting off with Ancient Dragon Man. This dude was in a cave, I think in the Western Mausoleum one. No, in the Dragon's Pit we found him. I think it was a one round shot, like most of the mausoleums ones. That includes Dancer of Rana, Rakshasa, Red Bear, and Black Gold Knight. For me, these were like super, I would say very easy. I'd say this goes in very easy together with the other ones once we get to them. Not that much of a big deal. Then we have Ancient Dragon Senesax. This one was the last dragon I actually did when we went through the whole Jagged Peak stuff. And he was difficult in a sense that the lightning attacks that he started doing, those were hot. Those hurt. But besides that, the combat stuff was pretty basic. I didn't see any new attacks from him. So I think I would say average difficulty. Maybe a bit more difficult because of the extra damage that he did compared to the other ones. Baal the Dread, I had to use a summon. He's just sheer massive size was a lot. That pissed me off. I felt from the beginning that it would be hard to fight him. So he's definitely going into, would it be super difficult? Once he goes into the second phase and he does that flying around and like he explodes everything, I think that makes it, I think, very difficult worthy. Almost super difficult, but not quite. Not there. Black Knight Edred, we found that dude in the castle a bit more south. I can't remember the name, but I'd say he was pretty average. Nothing too out of the ordinary. It surprises you when you see the fact that he has a health bar down, you know, but besides that, nothing too crazy. So I'd say average. And this dude is like the same. They're like the same sort of thing. Black Gold Knight, I didn't have any issues with him. Was he easier than Ancient Dragon Man? Not really, but he was fairly easy. So I'll go for very easy. Chief Bloodfiend, I think this dude, I didn't even know he was a boss. Oh, I noticed you. Oh yeah, because you go in and he pops up with when you go in that cave where they're having their gathering. But he was like just a pushover, nothing too crazy. Commander Gaius, this dude with the pig. Oh my god, I hated that pig so much. He was just super annoying with the board just going like and attacking you. I hated it. Then he goes and does some gravity magic because he's probably a Radon simp. So was he difficult? I would say if you're impatient, yes, he can be difficult. Was he average difficult? No, I think he was a bit above average. Yeah, so definitely difficult. B rank. Count Ymir. Well, just the count itself, he was definitely just like all he did was bring out the fingers. He brought out the fingers. They're like fingers, mother, something. But he wasn't any, I didn't think he even did a lot of damage when I was getting hit. Cursed Blade Labyrinth, he's a dude that you find when you go in the catacombs or caves. He's like basically the same type of boss as the Chief Blood Fiend, but fighting him with his combat style, with jumping around and like slashing a lot of times, I think that's definitely a bit harder to dodge. So that makes him an easy, just because I was well prepared in terms of leveling and stuff. If you were like a bit under leveled and stuff, it would be definitely an average difficulty. Dancer of Rana, we just did that. one, I think I was well over leveled for the situation. I mean, you saw it. It didn't do anything. She hit me a couple of times, but I didn't feel an ouchie. So I'd put it, yeah, bottom very easy. So even easier than these. The way it works also, the higher up it is, like closer to the sign thing, the more difficult it would be in that sense on that row. Death Knight version 1. I remember fighting this dude when I started the DLC. It was very rough. I was very happy when I was able to defeat him. Definitely was it harder than Commander Gaius? For where I was in the game at that point, yes, I would say it was more difficult than Gaius. Because it took me, I think, well over 5 rounds or something like that. Gaius was done in like 3 rounds until I got used to it. But the second version, I would put it under average. Because then I was already prepared for all the attacks and stuff. He just had, I think, like maybe 1 or 2 extra attacks, and that was it. If even. Then the Deathrite bird buffed. Oh, that was such an annoying fight. And for the most part, not because of the bird itself was annoying, but the bird had a gang of birds that kept attacking me while it was attacking me. So it was just pissing me off. In terms of annoying, yes, it was a difficult fight. I had to basically try to bait the birds that were around it, kill them, and then run back, get it, and make sure it doesn't kill me too fast, because it kept applying I thought it was blight, but it wasn't blight. It was freeze to me, and I died a couple of times to that because it was filling up so quick and I didn't have any armor for it. So difficulty, definitely difficult. I would even say I'd put it above Gaius, because also the bird itself was hard, not just annoying due to the other birds. So it was definitely up there. I think I even wasted more time than the Death Knight. Demi-human Queen Mariga. This was a dog dude that we found on the south shores. It was nothing. I didn't even know. I was like disappointed by how easy it was. Okay, then we have Demi-human Swordmaster Onze. I was in a place where it was easy to fight him, but the way he fought was kind of tough. It was pretty tough, and he had some really cool gimmicks, so it's definitely top out. You know what, I'll give him average. If I were a bit under leveled, it would have been a bit harder to defeat it. Up next, Divine Beast Dancing Lion. Definitely difficult, definitely very difficult, especially as if you go left and that's the first boss you encounter, you're gonna have a very tough time, especially since it can use lightning, wind, frost as a part of its attack kit. That's crazy. It's cool though, the design. I like the design a lot. That's definitely cool. So whenever I got my ass kicked, I was like, oh wow, I died in such a cool way. Obviously going to very difficult. I found it easier to win against it once I was properly leveled, so it will be second in terms of difficulty, but definitely a very cool boss. Falling Star Beast buffed. This is an OG one from the base game. I fought it very late games, so it's definitely an easy one. Not much to say about it. It's the same boss that was in the base game, so it didn't bring anything new. The Furnace Golem. Oh, so these dudes are so annoying for the amount of health they have. Their attacks are doing a lot of damage, but if you put the proper stuff on, like the talisman that helps with, what do you call it, fire protections, negations, yeah, then it's getting a bit easier. And if you're a proper level, you're gonna have an easier time. If you're trying to fight against this dude at the beginning of the game, you're gonna die pretty fast and very often, and it will do almost no damage. So keep that in mind. For that reason, I think it's a difficult boss to fight ve- early on, even mid-ish. Even if you're mid-game, you're still gonna have issues with it. Ghost Flame Dragon version 1. The first version that you find after you fight this dude, or this one, I think one of these, in that place upwards. The first one is pretty easy. I don't know, it felt easy to me. I didn't need a lot of tries. The annoying part about this one is that it's fighting against the knights, the other knights that you are fighting. So for a long time, you can just like look at the dude when he's fighting with the others, and then you can join the fight, or you can try to sneak in sometimes and do some damage like I did after a couple of tries. The problem is if you focus on the dragon, the other dudes will start fighting you instead of the dragon, and that's kind of shitty. And it gets annoying very fast because then basically at that point all of them gang up on you, so it's not that good. It takes a while. It was the first dragon I fought, so it was difficult to fight. Yeah, I'll think but it was doable. I didn't feel like it was as hard as this damage sponge. It just took me a bit more to coordinate the attacks. Same goes, okay, so the second one, this one's different. How is it different, you might ask? Let me tell you. This version of the dragon, you find it down south in the blue flower fields. What this one does, once it reaches half health, it can summon the undead army, the skeleton army. And it does that. And what happens at that point, they get up with soldiers that have like swords, lances type, and summoner type. So like magicians, and they can, the dudes that like just spawn in projectiles that are like just skulls, and they follow you, and all these three types fight you at the same time and follow you while the dragon is fighting you. That becomes very annoying very fast. And this one, it was very satisfying to win, but I lost a lot of runes in the meantime. I would say it's difficult because it specifically creates extra enemies to hinder you from fighting it. So it's gonna be around Death Knight. No, it was harder than the Death Knight for sure. The Golden Hippo, I would say average difficulty, but still top because it was a mandatory boss. It was cool. I loved that it started off as a hippo, but it turned into a porcupine hippo that had golden spikes that he could shoot off. That was kind of cool. The hitboxes on it were very generous, but his way of hitting you was also generous for him in a sense that he did like some very small twitchy body moves, and he could hit you so fast without a lot of, oh my god, how will I attack the player? It's just like move, done. So that made it a bit more, you know what, let's give it some respect. It was definitely in the difficult part. Jagged Peak Drakes, there's a couple of them. I mean, they're normal. They are definitely underneath these two dragons, Bale and the ancient one. Not that hard to fight. I would say average difficulty. Lamenter, I didn't even realize he had a boss health bar, but I don't know what that was. For me, he just stood around. He did the Kakebunshi no Jutsu thing, but that was it. Mesmer, my boy Mesmer goes way up to the top. This one was, oh my god, I loved it. It was such a cool boss. The presentation, the lore, everything that was representing him, the way he fought with the lance, and the animations, the sound effects and everything looked very cool. He was in general just a cool presentation as a boss. Problems with him though, hitboxes again. When he went into stage 2, half health, he turned into like this. He could conjure snakes and stuff, like giant snakes. The hitboxes on those snakes, my golly gosh, that was pure garbage. I did not enjoy those. I had the speed of it, first of all. combined with the hitboxes, sometimes I couldn't even tell what's happening. It was just all over the place. He could spawn if he was in a critical state, like close to the last part of the health. He could just like do a Vegeta bomb in the Boo saga when he just like explodes with Boo together. He basically goes into that sort of a state and then conjures like 5 or 6 snakes all one after the other at you, and you're just like praying that you'll survive. That was insane. That was insane. But yeah, besides that, great boss. Maybe even in the first phase there were a couple of issues with the hitboxes. His hitboxes, the way he hits and you think you dodged, but it's just like, yeah, it needs to be a bit tighter in that aspect, but still a great boss. Metyr, Mother of Fingers. So this one you find after you do some quests related to County Mir. Story-wise, it's very tight to what's happening in the story. It's an optional boss, so it doesn't affect the way the game goes. It's sort of similar to what would the Elden Beast do. Extras, it spawns in the hands, the creepy spider hands. It's able to do that. I mean, it does have a laser attack, and it's very heavy on physical attacks if you're close to it. A lot of the, as the hippo, a lot of body twitching left and right to hit you on the sides. But yeah, that's about it. I was definitely over leveled for the fight. The only reason I died to it was of impatience. I would say difficult, definitely even more difficult if I was a bit underleveled. But for my experience, it was just bottom difficult. Yeah. Mydra, Lord of Frenzied Flame. The exposition for this boss with the old dude that has the thing in the head and he slowly pulls it out to make the weapon. That's peak. That's greatness. I loved it. The boss itself was it was interesting in the sense that he moved very slow. He was able to like off attack somehow by a couple of milliseconds. That made it a bit hard to dodge sometimes. Also, he had attacks with madness, which were annoying because like that bar filled up really fast. You would get extra damage. You would get the madness, and when you do, the character does this while he's screaming because of the madness, you know, he would stab you. So you're kind of like, okay, Bo, what do we do? You know? Definitely a difficult boss, and it gets even crazier once he's over half health. He goes into a state where he has these like giant AoE attacks too. I would go probably over Ancient. You know what? Let's put him here. I think he was pretty on the rough side. Putrescent Knight. I hated this one. Easy. I liked the way he came in and the whole on a horse puddle, because like the horse didn't have back legs. I think it was just a puddle of black ooze, and he was fighting with this giant cleave sort of thing that he could throw around, and he would jump off the horse and like on you. He was insanely aggressive. I could barely like jump around and do stuff because of it. He also did frostbite. It inflicted frostbite. A couple of times he got me with frostbite for sure. I would say it's definitely a difficult fight. Would I call it very difficult? It took me I think 8 tries maybe to get him. I'll call it, definitely in the very difficult row for the aggressiveness. If I wouldn't be prepared with all of the items and the levels, it would have been a much tougher fight. We're gonna let Radahn sleep a bit for the last reveal. Ravla? Was it Ravla? The bear. Yeah, Ralva. Can't see. Ravla. Maybe misspelled. It's just a bear in the woods. For me, we just did this one, and together with Rugalea, they were easy like level fights. Definitely more difficult than these though, in that sense. But I think they should go together because it was more or less the same thing. Red Bear, you know, actually the bears were tougher than Red Bear and tougher than the Dancer. Tree Sentinels, they were not tough. because I was a very late game build, and they had the same attack patterns that the old ones have. Maybe even average difficulty. I don't know. They didn't do a lot of damage to me. Yeah. So this is these three you find in sort of the same time frame if you're starting to explore a certain part of the game. Okay, then we have Relana, Twin Moon Knight. This was an epic fight. I loved it. Her being able to wield both I think it was, does she wield frost and fire, or is it frost and moon, or whatever it's called? She does fire and magic. Okay, fire and magic. Well, it was definitely a cool fight. The only thing that caught me actually off guard was her attack when she flies up and drops 2 moons. I sort of wasn't ready for that in my fights, and my thought was dodge because I have iframes, so should be easy, but it didn't work, so I guess it's not working that way. But before I found out that you can actually jump over the blast so you don't get hit, I already won the fight. So she had a really cool hit of, yeah, she goes into moon and fire on the second phase. It was definitely a cool kit to fight against. I loved it. Difficulty, yes, for me specifically, I think I was again, I'm gonna insist on the overpowered thing. But if I were more in that range, or if I was doing a challenge run, for example, like no Skadu trees or Skadu tree fragments and stuff like that, it would be, I think it would be very difficult. Romina, Saint of the Bud. This was a very purple fight. I liked it. I had a bit of a rough time in the beginning because I couldn't tell some of the attacks when they start and end. She has 2 ends, the scorpion end and the caterpillar end. So she can grab you with one and sting you with the other. She had a couple of moves that I couldn't tell. She could rotate and basically hit you with both ends in the rotation, but I couldn't tell sometimes with the hitbox if one tail went by and it turned back on the other side, and it looked like the end of it, like a bit of a chunk of the end of the tail, could touch me and it would count as a hit, even though it felt like, okay, the attack is over. So that was annoying, but overall a cool fight. Gave me a bit of I think it tried to be a bit of a Melania fight in some aspects, but not completely. It took only like little bits here and there, but it was definitely an engaging fight. I had to be there for it. Well, should it be here? No, that's the question. No, I had way more of a tough fight there. Yeah, that's more fair. Rakshasa actually killed me once, twice, because I was too overconfident. That blade is very long. That blade is a very long blade. It has an insane reach that I sort of underestimated, and his attacks, he does blood loss damage, and it caught me off guard with the combo a couple of times because of the range that killed me. So out of all of the dudes in these mausoleums things, I think he was the best. But if I was able to attack him, then it became super easy. So in that sense, he was definitely over these. I would call him, yeah, easy if you pay attention. Yeah, I didn't pay attention, so that's why I could have put him around here, but because I died, I think it's easier, less easy actually. Okay, Yori, Elden Inquisitor. I need to remember this one. I know it's down in some woods, and it can spawn copies of itself that do damage while he's spamming the ring attacks, the yellow things. I died once to it because I didn't expect him. The Kagebunshins, the shadow clones, sort of surprised me. I would say he's about here. And now to the last two, my favorites. We have Radahn and the Skadu Tree avatar. My god, that Skadu Tree avatar, I don't know what happened, but I struggled with it so hard. I think it was I got more disappointed, more depressed every time it got up with more life. And fighting it 3 times, it was just a pain in the ass. It was rough. And what else? The attacks, I just couldn't. In the beginning, I tried when it does like sort of an attack where it blasts on the ground and it builds up thorns that sprout up and hit you with blood loss, a lot of blood loss. That attack like really threw me off because I always tried to dodge step inside of it, you know, so that it doesn't hit me. But in the beginning, I could dodge it. Something happened and I just couldn't find the timing anymore. And then I realized that it's not actually covering that much of a space around it. So you could technically just, when you see it happening, you have enough time most of the time to react to it and just run out of the circle. It was as easy as that. The 3 health bars, there's not much you can do about it. That's how it works. What you can do is after you finish 1 health bar, you can hit it in the head for a crit, and then the next fight starts at 70%, I think, 70% health. That's one thing. And the most important thing that I didn't notice, I was thinking always, oh, it's the flower. OJ remembers the flower. Yes, it's the flower. The thing is, I always tried to go underneath it and hit it at the center, at the tulip center thing, because I thought, oh, I'm safer if it can't see me. But I was doing less damage. If you actually go out and hit the head, it's so much damage. It's almost, I would say double the amount of damage that you do if you hit the head. Whew. Then it was an easy fight. Then it became very easy. But yeah, I had a rough time with this one, so definitely up here. And last but not least, Radahn, consort of Miquella. Radahn is just insane. The fight is crazy. He takes not a lot of damage. I had a blood loss build. I could feel it when I could do it, especially after changing my weapons around. I think I had a bit of an issue with the weapons in the beginning. I had the Ash of War thing that I had on in the beginning was more just pure physical damage. And once I switched that to more blood loss, then it sort of helped me do the good chunk of damage. Hitboxes, I'm not even sure. I think in terms of hitboxes, it was way easier to say, okay, I'm hitting him. I could tell that. But when he was hitting you, now that was an issue. The blades were, even though they look long, but some of the hits that I was getting hit with, that was just like crazy. I was like, come on, dude. What the hell? What's that blade doing? It's like covering half of the map. Be honest. So that was cheating for sure on his part. Then the next phase, Miquella joins the fight, and it's just bonkers. Every hit has an after hit from his main kit. He changes timings a little bit, that just enough to throw you off. But besides that, he has like 2 nukes, I think. Yeah, he can nuke you. He can grab you and if he does it twice, first off, you get a curse sort of spell on you from Miquella, and if it grabs you again, then you auto die. But the cool is, spoilers if you want to find it out yourself, if you get grabbed the second time, you get your heart stolen. You don't die. Well, technically you die, but it says heart stolen, and you get an emote for it. And that's pretty cool. So definitely make sure you die to that at least once to get the emote. In terms of attacks, as I said, he basically has the same kit, just to me it feels like the timings are a bit different. And every hit he makes has an after hit from Miquella in the sense of like lightning beams on the ground where the hit. And that's very annoying. And if he does like swipes, like the big swipes, then it covers a lot of ground. And that's just insane. And when he's close to death, like the last third of the health, he can he's doing the same thing he does in the base game. He just goes up in the air and comes back as an asteroid right at you. I suggest running away as far as possible from the middle of the arena, just to like not be caught in the blast. That usually helps. Presentation and everything, obviously it was insane. It was a super cool fight. I enjoyed it. Oh yeah, there's so many effects happening once Mikola joins. I couldn't see half of what was happening, especially up close. If you're fighting him up close like that, and the hair is just like all over the place, you can't see anything. The lightning is there constantly because it needs to spawn, and he's super aggressive. So there's no time to like, okay, screen is clear, I can see. No. In this game, you don't see, you feel. That's how you play the game. You feel the fight. So yeah, I definitely felt the fight. For that, I think he definitely deserves to be right up there. I'm thinking Mesmer and Erdtree, maybe they should swap places, but it could be just me that I had a tough time until I realized how to fight the Erdtree avatar. Mesmer was a bit more, okay, spot on what we should be doing. Yeah, so here we have it, the tier list for the Shadow of Erdtree in Elden Ring, the DLC. Is there something that may be a bit off? Something that maybe doesn't fit. Bale was strong for sure. Divine Beast had a crazy combos and movement. Maybe, yeah, this one might be like this actually. I can see it. Once you get used to Senisax, it's basically a normal dragon, so the Deathbird was definitely more of a problem for me. The dragons were more difficult than the knights, that's for sure. Okay, awesome. Well, this is Rebacoon's tier list for Elden Ring DLC Shadow of the Erdtree. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. If not, I will see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, I need to close Elden Ring. Say goodbye. Wave goodbye. Hey! Bye!